everybody, I'm Jay Shady, the voice of reason, and I am here to talk about WrestleMania X7, WrestleMania 17. This is regarded by the majority of wrestling fans as the greatest WrestleMania of all time, and I definitely see why. Quickly, some things about this WrestleMania before I go into the card itself. You had a great presentation to this show, and I just love the atmosphere about the whole show itself. I don't know how to explain it, but it just felt just different and big and unique, and I don't know what it was, but I just love the atmosphere behind this whole show. And also on this card itself, you had something for everybody. Every type of wrestling fan could be pleased with something on this card. You had amateur technician style wrestling with Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit. You had entertainment soap opera drama with Shane McMahon and Vince McMahon. You had hardcore shit with TLC 2. Then you had your big match main event clash with Stone Cold and The Rock. So rarely do you get such a well-structured card where it delivers something to every type of wrestling fan, and that's one of the greatest things about this WrestleMania. But I just want to talk about the year 2001 and how in the professional wrestling world. For me, 2001 is one of the worst years in the professional wrestling world. It just marked the end of the business of professional wrestling being at its top height, being at its boom period, and it just started the descent of the business and started the fall, and the business has just never recovered since 2001. You had Stone Cold turn heel, which marked the end of the Attitude Era and everything that WWF was about up to that point. You had the horrible, atrocious abomination of an invasion angle. That was just a fucking excuse for Vince McMahon to feed his big fucking ego. And then, of course, you had the worst thing, which was the deaths of ECW and WCW. The day that WCW died was the day that WWE stopped needing to give a fuck. The day that WWE stopped having to work their ass off to try to outperform their competitors. You know, without competition, WWE doesn't have to worry about innovating itself and evolving. They could just revert to being a stale, stagnant, boring, safe show, and that's exactly what they are today. You know, the death of WCW is just marked the end for the professional wrestling business, in my opinion, and will it ever be the same again as it was back then? I don't know, and it doesn't look good. And 2001 definitely was the year that started this fall for professional wrestling history. That's why I really don't like 2001. Okay, but let me talk about the card itself. The first match was Chris Jericho versus William Regal for the Intercontinental Championship. I thought this was an okay match. It was short, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was a good opener, okay match, and a good opener. Chris Jericho gets the win with a Lion Salt, I believe, so he retains the Intercontinental Championship. So, yeah, it was an okay match. Then you got the 6-man tag team match, Taz and the APA versus Right to Censor. This was not a good match. I think the worst men's match of the night. It was really short, like under 4 minutes. None to talk about. It ends with Bradshaw doing a clothesline from hell to one of the Right to Censor guys, and the APA and Taz pick up the victory. Then you get the triple threat hardcore match for the Hardcore Championship. Kane versus Raven versus Big Show. This was very enjoyable. I liked this a lot. It was good. Definitely your best hardcore title match from all the WrestleMania shows. These guys fought everywhere backstage. They tore the fucking sets apart, crashing through walls, crashing through doors, crashing through windows. This was awesome. Backstage brawling at its best. It ended with Raven and Big Show fall off the stage, and then Kane does a leg drop or an elbow drop to Big Show off the stage, and he gets the pin and wins the hardcore title. So good hardcore match, very enjoyable. Then you get Eddie Guerrero versus Test for the European Championship. I mean, this was a mediocre match, very forgettable. I forgot a bunch of stuff that happened in this match already. Just nothing to talk about. It ends with Eddie Guerrero hitting Test in the head with the European title while the referee isn't looking, and he picks up the victory and wins the belt. So yeah, this wasn't a good match really. Then you got your first truly great match of the night. Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit. This was a great match, not epic, not, legendary. It was great, though. I mean, it was very good. I do think that it took a long time to get going. It was pretty slow in the first few minutes. And these guys have had much better matches, especially, after this WrestleMania 17 when they were starting to get booked as bigger main eventers. But this was a great match, especially when they started getting going. It was the stuff that you expect from both guys. A lot of near falls, a lot of back and forth. Kurt Angle picks up the victory with a roll-up, and he's holding on to Benoit's tights. The referee doesn't see it, though. Really good match. Great match, actually. Then you get China versus Ivory for the Women's Championship. I mean, this was just, China dominating Ivory. If you're interested in China, her ass was out for the whole match. So if you're into that, this match is for you. But yeah, China gets the victory with a gorilla press slam, I believe, and wins the Women's Championship. Then you get Shane McMahon versus Vince McMahon in a street fight with Mick Foley as a special guest referee. This was McMahon family drama at its best. You had all the McMahons in this match. You had Stephanie McMahon and Trish having a cat fight. You had Linda McMahon in a wheelchair being, sedated, watching Vince beat the shit out of his son Shane. You had Shane doing crazy shit in this match. Really enjoyable, entertainment at its best. This is, the entertainment aspect of the WWF, and this was, the great stuff that they used to do with entertainment. I love the part where Vince is beating Shane with the trash can, and Linda stands up out of the wheelchair. She's was faking the sedation, and she low blows Vince McMahon. It ends with Shane McMahon doing coast to coast, I believe, trash can into Vince's face. I believe that's the way it ends, and he gets the pin and beats Vince McMahon. So really good, McMahon versus McMahon match. Then you get TLC 2 for the Tag Team Championship. Edge and Christian versus the Dudleys versus the Hardy Boys. Yeah, I mean, what hasn't been said about this match? This is a trend-setting match. Legendary, epic. Just a phenomenal match. I mean, and I think the Triangle Ladder match from last year's is phenomenal also. I think this might be like a hair better. But I really do love the Triangle Ladder match, especially because it went on for longer. I really think this match could have gotten a few more minutes. It was about a little bit under 16 minutes. I think it could have gotten a couple more minutes. I felt like the ending was just a little abrupt when when Rhino helps Christian get the belts. I thought it could have went a few more minutes to help this match out. I also didn't like the outside interference. You had Rhino interfering, you had Lita interfering, and you had Spike Dudley. But, those are just small gripes with this match. This match is great. This match is hardcore, crazy shit. Jeff doing swantons off a giant fucking ladder. I think Devon and Matt going through all these, 4 fucking tables outside the ring. The best part for me, Edge spearing Jeff while Jeff is hanging on to the tag team title belts in the air. Just a legendary moment. Just great shit. Yeah, great match. Edge and Christian get the win. Then you get your 19-man gimmick battle royal. I was enjoying this for the first couple minutes because they had Bobby the Brain Heenan and Mean Gene come out, and I loved hearing Bobby the Brain back on commentary. And they brought out some, old school guys like Tugboat and Sergeant Slaughter, Earthquake. And it was just because I've been watching all these WrestleManias, it was a nice and a nostalgic feel back to those old WrestleManias. And I realized I was getting nostalgic about these old WrestleManias that I didn't even grow up with. That's how much I realized how those 80s WrestleManias did somehow touch me. And I really am fond of those after watching them, those Golden Age WrestleManias. But I thought it took way too long to introduce all these guys. You had 19 introductions. Everybody had an entrance, so it just took up a lot of time for me. It was a short battle royal. The Iron Sheik wins it. You know, it was nice seeing some of these guys, but a lot of these guys were just random fucking jobbers. Then you get The Undertaker versus Triple H. You know, their first WrestleMania match. And I think this is a very underrated match. A match you don't hear about. Especially because of the last two Undertaker and Triple H matches. And, you know, the WWE doesn't want you to know that they had a match previously before that. But it's a shame because this is a really good match. A great brawl. Brawling by the crowd. Brawling all over the place. You had a great spot when Taker was going for the last ride, and Triple H grabs the sledgehammer and hits him in the head, and it looked like Triple H would get the pin, but Taker kicks out. I believe it does end with the last ride. Undertaker does get a last ride on Triple H and gets the victory and goes to 9-0, I believe. But this is a really, really good match. Not as good as their last two matches, but still, this is great. A great brawl, and it's a shame that this isn't talked about as much as it is because of the last two matches. Then you get your main event. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock. No disqualification for the WWF Championship. And this match had, in my opinion, probably one of the top 5 greatest video packages ever for a match with Limp Bizkit's My Way. This video package just really got you, just really set the tone for this match and set the mood. Awesome video package. And the match itself. This was a fantastic, epic match. Their best WrestleMania match, without a shadow of a doubt. It doesn't even come close, that decision. This is easily their best WrestleMania match. It almost went for 30 minutes. You had blood, you had brutality, fucking Austin and Rock bleeding like motherfuckers. I love the homage to past WrestleManias that they gave. They had Rock having Austin in the sharpshooter and Austin with blood running down his face like WrestleMania 13 with Bret and Austin. You had Austin doing the $1 Million Dream to Rock, harkening back to his fucking Ringmaster days with Ted DiBiase. Bunch of near falls. And of course, your very controversial finish. Vince McMahon comes out and helps Austin defeat The Rock and win the belt. And Austin and Stone Cold shake hands and form an alliance. I did like how they had The Rock kicking out of everything that Austin and Vince were dishing on him. Like, he was just kicking out everything. He just was not giving up. What was it going to take for Austin and Vince to beat The Rock? But I think that if Austin just beat Rock clean, this could have been arguable to be the best WrestleMania match of all time. But just the finish really left a sour taste in my mouth. It just felt so awkward and just so not right seeing Vince and Stone Cold team up together. It was, growing up on Stone Cold, that rebel that beat the shit out of Vince, that fan favorite that everybody loved, that just went against, the corporate side of the company, just aligning himself with Vince. It just was a slap to the Attitude Era, I feel, and it was a slap to the stuff that was happening before that when I was growing up, and it was, I don't know, it's like seeing, your hero in the movie all of a sudden aligning himself with the villain, It just doesn't feel right, and it was just a huge mistake. Shocking at the time and controversial at the time, it was like something you had to talk about, but in the long run, this just really, really hurt the company, in my opinion, and Stone Cold was never the fucking same after this. Even when he turned back to being face, he was fighting in the middle of the cards at pay-per-views. He was, booked to job to Brock Lesnar at Raw. Austin was never the same after this. And it's a shame because this match is just so epic and phenomenal and great. But this ending is just hard to watch still because this is really the destruction of professional wrestling right here on display. And like I said, if they just had Austin go over Rock clean, you could have ended this WrestleMania with pure epicness, and easily I would say this is the greatest WrestleMania of all time. But this did just leave a bad taste in my mouth. That's why I'm going to give this show a 9.25, and I'll say that it is not my favorite WrestleMania of all time. It's my second favorite WrestleMania because even though you had this bad ending, you had great shit on this card. You had a bunch of great matches. You don't see WrestleMania cards with this amount of great epic matches. So just because how much this hurt the company for the long term, I can't let that take away my grading of the show itself, because the show itself in match quality definitely delivered, but just that ending really, it's hard, man. It's just really hard to watch, and I'm probably gonna cause controversy or something, and people are gonna say, how could you not think this is the best WrestleMania of all time? But when you just see that ending and just know how this is gonna drive the WWE to where it is today, I have to give it a 9.25, not a 9.5, not a 10. I still haven't talked about my favorite WrestleMania of all time, so stay tuned to find out what that one is. But there you go, there's my WrestleMania 17 review. I'm Jay Shady, the voice of reason. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later.